Omanisha Mamuna, Joe Sama Makaba, UTV, so Nundu Kasiabo, and I did a best sum with the best some say, if you did a dear Duma, Intian, to me, and Shasia, Nundu said, Abribia, you know, at the Emamo from Sokatan by it, and I said, you know, to Chimakatra, Monfan Chay, Yasan Abaya Sinkumia, UTV Kasia, Nundu dear, and a best some more. A fire do so I am common a bread. You say I can afford a be na a fee general elections. The paso ever my 7 December and I can echo to about the next president. It be say MPP and Twasso. It be to say change a bread to say Ghana be here and such rice and say Niama El Cosso Memuno, Niamamu Ayate. And the Ghana this year. Be say here experience hands will be our human be paying. Now ye the 2 million ashen, sir. Tiene ye Bora NDC Amanukono Asway, the largest opposition party. War Maimo. Ye share a campaign so far, said the Econo, said the Ghana for Ajumu Atumu Afa. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Ghana Fire Crado. Sir, almost signed your mano, Ashensa. Tell the America for a year. Woman Donald Trump, Abano, Ghana, so Sana Becoso, and now saying, and it's here. 24-hour economy, as you say, Ghana for Yatum, and I say it's the same. Yabura NDC Australian, Yaton Safre, campaign spokesperson, or Sansu a special aid to the NDC presidential candidate, which is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, or a lawyer by profession, and maybe a term or a former and as a former deputy minister of transport. Obahima Joyce Bawa Muhtari and in Sakam. Anyway, I'm over.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Why a feather dose?
That's a very heavy dose.
No, when they set tight in our command. Why a feather dose? And a green amiana.
And the sharp.
A yezu?
Zazazazaza.
A yezu?
A yezazazu.
Yo, I am a young common as Sansa Breno Etia. NDC. Mjiri sama kwa probo Ghana fanenina wenye didika anye de toss me no several times mokwa say na Ghana for aje omampanin dada His Excellency John Dramani Mahama atumu afa
we de me chia mu nyina
obi aje mo so
se me cheche mu se de nyame ase na wonim se wa we introduction no cheche mu se NDC de ye party ye wo mass and broad appeal e wo Ghana ha na nya de obetimi aka se NDC ye sori na pa e bia ye stronghold nkwana ye to abama ya na se one state and one region agenda na ye djuma ye party ne de ye party a sha se a befi fourth Republican dispensation ya ye wo mu nti wo hwa Ghana 16 regions nyina be bia wo be fe bia NDC ewo broad and mass appeal. Nka ye wo America na wo be kan e be a very popular vote one sema. Eni nka ni de NDC ya na wo de beche no. Nte ya de a ye party no.
Na more popular.
Ye popular. In fact, we are singly the most popular political party in Ghana. And they make no mistake. Oh, I hope share research data bibia church mo say, and one of the most successful political parties also in the history of this country. Nti democracy ya dia a day na super ayeso ye tiasie na wo hwe Ghana ha bebia yakọ ene amene wo bonko we say ye kobe 14 regions aye we eastern region na nti aka 2 regions na wo hwe so the last 6 months idea we have told the nation twice when him said before the flag bearership contest ye go around aye dabi and listening to and on share should be various trade associations, various professional associations, various religious and faith organizations, various civil society organizations, and no, ne views. Ese ene ayebe to abeya na ayebe ko election e den potine ya dia e haga na fo adwin pa na wo nim se ye course around no nyina ye san betena ase e chro ye draft manifesto ye wie sa draft no so ye san to nsa e ko bebia ehu hia se opinions wo ho a ye benya a certain broad interest e wo ye manifesto no nti wo kai se ye ko AGI a ye ko didi nkitahu e wo ejuma ho asem na wonim se ne ameni wo bonkomo yi unemployment is the singular biggest threat to our security in this country.
Mabuna enya jumanye.
Wonim say campaign na me be hu say sa word no ne kire say youth. Na me hye na nim ne sa word no kire nti. Me say campaign yi a ye fa mu yi de. Mate say membunu between Sami Jemfi ekoto Mr. Mahama. Me hu say sa word no de abe fa center stage. Nti me kubisa say nipa kasa e kire say. Nti say me nim say I say youth, but still I mean, she don't say near. Aha, you bought where do you enti? Me tia say so say it's about young people. Africa hanging now for AU records, sir. We have a population of 350 million. Okay. Now out of that 350, no, the largest bulge is youth in Africa. Now Ghana, a youth, sir. It's a reflection of sir data. Nti a idea campaign biya be say. I be jinemu ase wo betimi ato aba ama obi I be yi ne se oyo mampanyi e ya there was say focus no should appeal largely to your young people. And when you say young people Gen Z for yi omo she dem te say yen ye time ye kra afa utimi say ye kra ye yabo kokwa kakra nti e ya there oh you say you and defining youth you see between age 19 to 35 nti ye de enyina ye hye dan ye youth you I know there ye the mantle ye jaya ma omo nti ye be sure omo say e bia omo so no mo ye generation after us when him say omo dem asesa ma omo ye very well educated now when the social media and so omo very large platform nti omo adwen so e bie nti ya dia they question things, they reflect on things. Omo nyankofo wotimi sorry say oh we black and I say we white omo fifimu nti e adea campaign bia wo be sha say e was say we share how it appeals to different classes young people now we say NDC there right from Papa J time party I wish young people etimi very dynamic na party no so oh yes mostly na general I say don't ketia mu nyina mo sha say na omo age ahe ne ye national chairman and ne general secretary Fifi Kwete ana kani no ye propaganda secretary omo sha say no mo young and there Haruna Idrisu a black wa Sam George no mo nyina so omo sha say
presidential candidate
very young no ye very in fact now after cool days no there now in terms of democratic dispensation there he was very young nti a idea we've always had this very great mix of all generations nti me catch you say NDC there obi aye amamudu and also obi aye middle age person ti ase ene kra ye bon komo ye papa Tony Edu na anu ya me say Gozitano o kama ye jobs the employment wasem nti we have a very broad appeal. People of all walks of life are actually very interested in your party nti ene me hwe se me ye campaign no ya sha se and me kra MC campaign in Medici since 2008. Okay. Now between 2012 and now Mr. Mahama ya nanti very closely. Me who say campaign very different.
This year they are different.
Very different.
They are many different, sir.
Very unique approach. Very strategic because here him say 16 regions no nyina ye wadofo. Okay. Nti sha say ye campaigner. Ye campaign no because ye tia say Ashanti region kra say ye bombo de na ye convention mo ni ye policies a omo kra mo de omo vote be mai. Okay. Nti sane ye hwe.
All right. For any Obama Joyce Bawa Muktari, campaign spokesperson, the special aide to the NDC presidential candidate, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and I know a bonkomo. Oyema yanshe mo manifesto. The more catcher Ghana for the Dimakotsempa. A 24-hour economy. 24-hour economy. So masha opposition manuku me pamcho aba omom ti adwaso sabri contest mo nom na prepare MPP. Omo do mini aba. The unse vice presidential candidate kra ka say a disco, a 24-hour disco na mo kan wansem 24-hour economy ni kra no dey ade.
Onim say dey bia me cheche mu say me hwe MPP administration here. Yen nyina ya so almost too much. What you say? Too much. Too much. They are overly pampered. What you say? In theater they be oh, because me say me opponent in a democratic dispensation and in the policy bar. Say me what criticism be to be constructive. But dismissive criticism no any problem. And no and share that and share democracy. And it undermines democracy. Especially many women in Ghana has this year. Your main opponents are more government. Nyomu yani said they spreading of fake news, disinformation, any misinformation, just to muddy the waters because omuko launchi omu manifesto. Ebesine what say obi owo MPP bia be see there, including omu running mate, any omu presidential candidate. Say what saw the manifesto mu, and ne say odi bon komoda. Ebi omu sorry it is always to plug holes into opponents niwaka and nionka. Who has outperformed who has said what, why will Mahama want to contest again? You know, this is the 1992 constitution.
Okay.
It is the NDC, sorry, say, John Mahama ni obia omutia say, or nim Ghana, or experience, or obi obetimi abo ejuma. Me in fact bo America na bibia president aye come back. What you say? Look at our unique circumstances.
Okay.
And ne bibia yeti. Ede emponti na ye nche da nyeda me ma me say bibia ye we ase a omo ayeda all we are doing is what we are evolving and adding value. Nti ade obi ye maybe 20 years ago o soro na pa obe ya obe hwe na obe ye ese ne kama ti se na fkane no ye letters any envelope announce obi ti post office or chiro na letter na sane from omo ye very popular no one write ye fefe ai o tabu announce na typewriter ko no mo depend o di ruler base na one kama answer na mobile phone na nyina e ko gina ho e ko train telegrams ni ma saa time no kura bad news ba na me papa ti abrochire e ade a telegram e de be say bad news no dey abechire o nti ma hwe se ejuma ho asem aye dem pa na enu ametie statistics bi na me cry me why me my dream home because I was curious. You see 14.7% of your population are not only unemployed, e bi mo cry underemployed. Nti ya dia obi wo ejuma wo so ejuma entimi ntua pension ma wo, entimi ntua rent ma wo so so de bia ugina bus stop a opeka e de ko ejuma. So excellent. Nti sa nyoma chere say sustainability no a challenge. Now we share Ghana has a year, we share a public debt stock of 740 billion cedis. A kaide after the reckless wastage of the public purse and the plunder. Any frivolous investments are near I am per se be advice. And then I will say,
can this move from
120 billion. 120
billion Ghana
cedis.
Na say I could say
740 me sure say more crap because they be a cost.
No, say MPP buy within 7.5 years.
Yes.
One Bob
complete. Na say
over 600 billion.
Na say nipa na o spearhead mo finance no. O obi a no interest. And the bank ejina mo ejin faso. It was our business. Until borrowing was part of the transaction. Aye.
Allegation be no him.
O say public accounts committee crutch say na etua data bank. When say me nye obi a me ye me nye communication basa. Me can't surmise because it's facts checked. Nti kofa public accounts committee na.
Apa no interest o.
Oh yes, transaction be brave no mo kofa e wo market si nyina. They had an interest. Transaction advice no more. You can't record no can see na you your office. Na data bank ejuma mo ye no. But say na nyo mo kwa. Can you know mo benya ejuma under MPP under Kenoforiato mo boy ejuma no. That's yes and no mo boy ejuma. Nti me say we have tried and tested everything.
Okay.
Nti we share so research then crown e de be ma o say wo pese wo betina aban mu bioma e dey na wo be ye to engage the youth, to interest the youth, to convince them that there's something better than NAPCO, that there's something better than planting for food and jobs, that there's something better than students in there, money making gimmicks, kickback gimmicks. What I say? Nti ye manifesto committee no e bojuma pa e hwe numbers no. E be hu say economy a ye wo mu sesia 5 p.m. hwe mu radio for say enye 11 aboy
yeah
na me show am share pa Ghana show be what TV3
okay
I started some day yeah very late sometimes baby I dinti what drink cry is very focused nti e den e be ye say other people best start business set some day ukọ agbonani a chocolate factory somunda finished product no go turn in the daytime
yeah
process no e anajo omo ye cheese omunda ne we hu wo shop no the finished product anajo omo wie mu train cleaning omo nye na napa anajo amene wa koda no saa time na baso na ye nyina na ye student ye mum ni ohe na ye nya ejuma wo 24 economy mu nti so bi be catch us say oh ya ye bibia emboae we should extend the working hours to say near Boche, sorry, one day say age 60 as retirement, no, and yet because HR said they pay pensions very quickly. Until be or one a hondi, I'll bet me age could do 65, young fat age of pension, no, and cost 65 because this is research based. Okay. Until me chira almost say 24-hour economy idea, a process, and yeah, idea was sorry anapa, then you complete it. It is a process. What is the process? An opportunity to create opportunities for other people, sustainable jobs. The more people you employ, better growth you have. What is the biggest social intervention? I be boa nkrofo munye ejumada. Me say be a deputy minister. Na me a full director e wo multinational company.
Okay.
And na me ne wo bon komo ye age mates ben na ombetimi anya sa opportunity no. Ejuma no kra ni ho.
Yeah.
Until we must do something we've never done. Na ye wo school GCnet. No more shifts 3. No more buses e no more premier towers e wo ministries. Na wo kofa busy internet. Now it was ring road. Now one day no more. They were open all night. Yeah. Mobile phones, any technology advancements, they be internet facilities wage. Trade fair. Not time been a trade fair pon. Students are more legal now e no more age. And then we charge them down for phone now. No beer will be here right up to 10, 11, 12 p.m. It is not a novelty. It is just because we didn't sustain it. In our productivity so low, efficiency even lower, cost of doing business very high, cost of borrowing even higher. In the private sector, we expect the private sector to augment public services. No, how have you supported the private sector? Share interest rates. Bank 31%, 32%. By the time you finish all the transactions, legal fees, transaction fees in your money, you'll be paying about 36%. I think now what you're saying, people come from Asia and invest largely in our economy, but those of us in business here cannot make such investments. It's because Asia, they borrow for businesses at what? 3% tops, including all sorts of charges. So when they come here, they have good money to invest. The Ghanaian businessman, how is he going to invest? In TNA, who can catch AGI for say, oh, government is introducing a 24-hour economy. You want to have the same job, but you're going to run 3 shifts and you have 3 different people.
24-hour economy, exactly. But
excellent. The whole day it will be running. Most of our construction firms here, they are open all night. The oil and gas companies, they are open all night. Madam for oil and gas company, who can if you're aboard Australia time boho, Europe time boho, America time boho, because in every time zone he has workers. Me now say me case be the people were in Las Palmas. I had to stay awake till about almost 12 midnight to go on a Zoom call because that is when the business starts. BPO somewhere in Asia are for young people. Ghana, how do you say young people apply for Juma and they are working in Geneva? Many of us say Kodano. Now feel an Juma time is starting. You understand? Okay. Shops, even stocking shops, they don't do them in the daytime. By all means, me say, can you know a life here fair? Answer a nepotistic government so. How was it working? Military, obi family back to me come we should not 3 people crack up can obey senior man, other people are joining. At least the family becomes what? Independent. If you even increase security, visibility, police to private citizen ratio, if you even include other regions and ensure that every region has an equitable way that they participate in security services. If you wake up in the morning, say we point Juma, bus see where they will be coffee, and then I won't go Juma. Me see, my industrial enclave, I am hoping say a microcosm, a baby, we will model this 24-hour economy.
Okay.
Says our resources, $10 billion push here about private sector. They will utilize it fully to improve on productivity.
Okay.
Secondly, look at our importation bill as a people.
Me
a maritime law. Say ship baha, turnaround time, sika. Going back empty, sika. Would you say the entire cargo baha? No boarding, ding. You are paying for port to port. You are paying to call back. What you say? In one shipment, because some baha grains, some ban, they don't have a commensurate level of cargo to take back. That is a big gap in our business and our economy. Baby, I'll be in America, me say port no more na. We call Singapore no na. We call most of these large port facilities. They are wide awake 24/7. And so Ghana, it is the direct opposite. Until me say, we have tried and tested many things.
Okay.
The resilience of a manifesto lies in its proactive response to a particular need. Okay. Otherwise, what is the point? It's just like going to court to challenge a constitutional provision as against a person's personal laws. It is not possible.
All right. And Samuel Dawson, Yane Joyce Bawa Muktari, campaign spokesperson, special aide to the NDC presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama, and Edin Komo. Yan share John Dramani Mahama as a personality. MPP4, what is so much tough when he can say he's corrupt because hotels or Dubai. Meaning what it is, you are closer to John Dramani Mahama. Or not as flag bearer, the integrity. It is
Top notch.
Top notch.
Top notch. Modest man with a very high sense of right and wrong. Top notch.
Humble man,
very
humble,
modest, very respectful. Obia, I think he respects democracy so much. It would be cry, he overdoes it. That is the truth. Very simple man. I may see John Mahama, you will be on Yamia Shranopa. What I say?
Then someone go for camphor. Yeah, what is our TV?
You know, I TV. Say Ghana had there. We say they didn't do so. Now Obia, why not doing so the propaganda? Be how are doing this? And they obey anything. I may say, can you know? Omampenya akufado 2016 den okache me ne okache say ndi infrastructure roads no nya dey aduane me see enne at the level of food inflation the highest Ghana has ever experienced. Ghana Statistical Service akache me ne will say most of our poor are now multidimensionally poorer by almost 60% in this country. So we should, oh yes. Mr. Kroma, Bisa reporters on DHA or campaigning. Say me they wouldn't say I'm a very I mingle a lot. Me say obi wa eduani one meal cry ade ede. When say Greater Accra, Greater Ashanti, Greater Northern Region, sa inner cities no. Ghana has 16 regions in now. They have a strong rural component. What I say? Ah, obi say at Greater inner cities no. They don't even impact the environment. Who call Upper East region say, okay. But challenges with drought, rain patterns, ejuma krom benya nsuo dia ye no aye dindindi.
Oh, na say one district, one community, one dam.
Say no the debate, in fact, no cry the jury is out. Omo catch say dugouts. Na dugouts no cry mo de mo cameras ko hwe no. Say animals going to be no sense you know. What a dugout means there's not a treated water body. Until there's a lot of mud, it's fully silted. So it's of no use really to anybody. What you say? Now mo the bed. Kwalugu Dam no and ne obi o pre ho so be president. Or catch say the single largest investment in the northern region was the Kwalugu Dam. Me call debate ni obi ofi VRA. Or see $12 million no. Omo the topographical work.
$12 million.
Who are with mini OTA? You 1 million cry. The back for groundwork. No, me see $12 million, and it's in the public.
Only research,
almost research, land acquisition. I may say landy. It was compulsorily acquired in the 60s.
You're torn in 60s.
To an executive instrument. A DAO, who call a DAO, clean. Which I sent him me say, corruption no there. Many women said there's a good reason why they tried so hard to malign John Mahama.
No be some good anyone.
Good.
Say crucify.
Excellent. Say be ya on your be lay claim to any public office again first and foremost. Now me see they be me say not because I served John Mahama. Me nimba me apa nyene. Me so me nim Akufo-Addo very very well. Now we share omo me ensa ye nyina ite o yebo omo komo yi. Obi anim se se wo pe obi a o wo gidie. Obi a osom oman. Obi a obu oman. Obi a oti ase na ehia Ghana for. And the John Dramani Mahama. Now me see obi a ofi aban so ojai 126 E-blocks at different stages out of 200.
School adaya kese.
Ye kachire o se wan nye hwe. And I want to mampenyin dada Akufo say ejuma projects be start here when timi. It is not easy to lead a country and complete projects. Akufo-Addo ko ball agenda 1181 leje kuku omo da ho twen. Now you want me catch say land ho asem ayedi. Oko bubu sa hospital no nim say land no e ho asem yedi.
Like Madian.
Excellent. Now and the question omo na ho no mo ye campaign skirt and blouse nyoma. Me say John Mahama there, God is not done with him. And there's a good reason why on everything, on health, on the economy, on social intervention, Sugar Fund was the single largest social intervention ever by any government in this country. Schools, CACC, every public university was constructed by the PNDC or the NDC after Osajifo. Now, we two predecessor, and now you are a successor. Democracy also behoves on you. Say you will show at least some respect. What you say? Now, Kroma Hayati Mibra me say, obi be babet na ban so obenya sika. A me ne oti. E dey na wonye. Akwan ne obejai.
Debbie.
Farm ho say obejai. Hospitals, do we have enough to serve over 30 million people in this country comfortably?
Debbie.
Inti idea, government will always be a continuum. The challenge with this particular MPP administration, why I agree with Dr. Nyahuta Maklu, that this is not the MPP that they founded, is because...
Hey.
Yes!
Dr. Nyahuta
Maklu.
Yes! Founding members of the...
Yes.
A member of the MPP.
Hey. Oh, yes! Because of nepotism, because of corruption, because of the reckless borrowing, because of disregard for the generality of the people. That is the truth. Now me say in Toronto amu try ya mo de ba government nti. Enta ba me da ho cha Toronto. Mo sorry anapa mo media for. Na mo bo ba me recordings de bia. Campaign say mo closing. Okoka de biom.
Say any voice say
President Akufo-Addo de ba me abekire ye Ghana. Dey no ka kire. O ye young man. Onim economics. Excellent. Oye Juma or Bank of Ghana or your beer or dinner back one. Economy will be managed in the way that we will all receive bread and butter. Me na me Mama John Mahama, but na me show me nim say e bia ni o kana yampa. Osi on hia ye sika, on wia ye sika, on di ye sika, on ye sika basa basa. Omo ka che say Ken Ofori-Atta was the best finance minister Ghana will ever have. In all of that today, when we left office, the dollar was 4 cedis to $1. Today, how much is it? Nearly 17 cedis. Now, Metis says central bank governor Bekache say, or reserves, or the share market it will bring the dollar down to 10 cedis. Really? Then make me a governor. Because governor office, chair president office. Governor, oh yes, they retire on their salaries. They are treated like royalty for a good reason, not to be partisan. Not to destroy the economy and print monies illegally without parliamentary approval. Me say President Akufo-Addo was a man with enormous promise. But because of all his failed promises, he has lost out completely.
It's a boss of Michelle, no,
ni bebe, me say, if you put them to strict proof, omo campaign ko be jai. Oh yes.
And some of them can't answer no babem.
National Cathedral and Cross, can't send no di shame.
I think 58 million.
Thank you, and counting. That is what we know. That is what we know. PDS, how much was lost? See, you no catch your parliament say, Sikano, they cannot recover it. Because Omo Yejumano could do, baby. Nah, it fell through. We lost 160 million. That would have gone into improving our what? Power distribution. ECG, what your losses? I'm a pam director general. What is so be an investigation? What is so become one same bill? Haptel, I if tika say no mutuam. Meters I debe bom fie nyina be say ne. How does that help you? Cause share procurement. You catch say procurement single source no was criminal. They will end it and protect the public purse. Baumia ni nuanomo kokoko bod koshe. Single source contracts e wo mo no mo re.
What's it?
Oh yes.
Dr. Mahmoud Bamia.
Me catch you. Oh no, I am more corrupt crowd than Akufa. So also share Akufa do nya wa ye no. He will replicate him. Me say,
also Dr. Mahmoud Bamia is corrupt.
Share public account.
More than
yes. Ono so try say Akufa do fees one ono so in the family akoye bi. I'm telling you. Na me a deputy minister. Me wo government me da. Uti me ho asem da. Until I joined the campaign in 2016, how many people had ever heard about me? Nobody. And yet I was John Mahama's relative. Until me say, standards are not the same. The two leaders have nothing in common. The two political parties have no relationship except that we believe in democracy, even unlike them. Obi or say I believe in the rule of law. And the rule of law is the same. And they announce principle away. Announce kasa. They've made him useless.
The president.
Yeah, governance institutions in our way. Special prosecutor, president did board campaign on one kasa call parliament to observe the vetting to show his commitment to the fight against corruption. John Mahama's worst record is their best on corruption. Yes. John Mahama, if he advanced unemployment was 8.4%. Me say, me wadajia. When I have this conversation with you, you will be convinced. Because when you fact check everything I'm saying here, it will cross check. Share list of raft of corruption. Governor, Bank of Ghana, and your partisanship in here. Uti hona u print sika. During COVID, almost sika sa almost $50 billion. One single source company. Till date, we are paying a COVID levy. And then crying here.
Yes, under John Dramani Mahama, not Bank of Ghana in Yamfaso. But this time, Bank of Ghana,
Bank of Ghana, a bank I can't fast what I duty as a central bank is to ensure fiscal discipline. And yes, sir, vote today gold, any sika reserves. They are supposed to be a buffer. Now me say NDC, buffers are NDC one. They've all been capped. Get fund, ESLA, road fund, road fund. A minister just walked into parliament with impunity. Say we be a gates no nyina ntia ade sa levies no mo ngibiu or the be toilets and bathrooms. And the toilets and bathrooms are whatever. You see, let me say one thing. And no me kind of brofo so that we tia se kakra. Okay. My tia say enya there was a NDC and Ghana for should go to the New Patriotic Party to take moral lessons. Hey. Yes, because omo dwe say omo repository and omo you know a chair obi ade and omo say Ghana for maybe we are just not correct. It's okay to continue to run roughshod over us. Ade historically in this country me say look at the records. Ko AI krakoshe John Mahama stands tall on corruption, on press freedoms, on respect for democratic institutions. And the only krom hana muntie 3 in the year. Look at the mayhem. They weaponized it. Even in the face of disgracing the then sitting president, they locked them up in Ghana.
Me kai say the MPP eba no mo kan ba ko bi say aban wasan pa and a bobesia. Na omo de omo ba they move from taxation to production. Eno ni ehun.
Makache o say wo di omo anu sem say wo betudwa. Ba me want me campaign kra. Una mo join on nam ho kaka ne ho kanu. Because only case he is a monumental failure and utter disgrace to the office of vice president. And then they be make say Mr. Parkway say Misata, may he so rest in peace. Okachire says 170 questions no. They were a crazy man's reaction to textbook economics. Say na yin na ye say bia nyampa. E bia we say no car traffic jina ho amu nyina mu di echi a mo print a mo choro nti ye be fa na sa. And how have we fed on the public purse, on protecting the public purse, on exchange rates? In fact, the fundamentals have disgraced Baumia. Yes, completely. Only respect, but call Fabio. IMF, I am quiet, Garini watching your manoma, and they were taunting us. Governance, we reduced it to just, political chicanery. it was always an attempt, a grand scheme to hoodwink Ghanaians. That is what Akufo-Addo has succeeded in doing. I mean, what he is saying, I can't. You got to say Akufo-Addo did private jet crying the cause of COVID. Say, can you say who you are? You're Jindi. What you say? We will be a bedroom so I old in tears, Canada, or the bed to one my United, show your money, no money, and one banner. Shares corruption stories in Yinambisi, from PPA to Youth Employment Agency to PDS to National Cathedral. Nina more than 200 of them. Na me kai say bus branding here, na say I'm your deputy minister. She did your mo here. 3.6 1 billion Ghana cedis. We me court awarded him that money. And so she said no mo they politicize it completely. Me see and $58 million don't go here. PDS 11 point something million here.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia can answer me. Former President Kufuor Abekasa wa endorse no. Your take on it. I'm Alan Craig.
Oh, you see, I have enormous respect for former President Kufuor. I mean, he was my father's mate for many years, so he's a man that I have enormous respect for. Mr. Mahama, I have a very warm relationship. Now, I know I'm Martin Man who says it's just politics. He doesn't want to be cut off. He doesn't want to be cut out. When who's a crass party no besan the fee because he be you this year. He has to position himself. So he ought to show some small support. Maybe he even holds a small window. I'll be Alan Asayamba party. Until me sure say Alan there he's very hurt. I understand his frustration. Me krana John Mahama di me 7 sabesi ene na so ye me bibi sa. Me sure say adia e be me pa. Let me be honest with you. It is just empty noise. Me kai say Akufo-Addo kwa say o kan sa chairman. Ekoba ne say. Nti o man de enya adia.
Ba wo hwe nsema Alan akeka the relationship with Kufuor affecting.
Me say me papa ana me wofa ana me sister eye me sa de ne be me pa. What you say? Na me say o man penyin dada Kufuor yo bia o enormous wisdom. Na me kai say na me pe na asem pa ne say or proverbial ways be or the casem. But which means say we they sat on him pa say it was opium say campaign no kra ton si
o da bi en for na force o say
oh me say o who say party na kaka say be sign be fie say who person
say
oh say when they lose they'll come back and beg, when they lose they'll come back to their senses, when they lose as Nyahotaman closes the real owners will take over. When those real owners take over he will want to be someone to be considered as a very serious person to determine kingmaker cross efe. What you fear, what me dictate say we be running mate and I say we be say we share party no one. It's a great opportunity. Make no mistake, President Kufuor he is a deep thinker. I'm saying say John Mahama is a deep thinker. Ofa Kufuor so was some very native sense of wisdom. Also if you say one nti me no can dey make a say a highfalutin talk.
Okay.
A political talk.
All right. Your research before elections, the projections about a NDC, a being so a Kotia NDC. Posa ebano, sena NDC musumufa.
Oh, bra. Now who can say office? Iya you ne yin munyina post in your manoma ba sena debia Mustafa Hamid no mo press conference munkai. Paul Lubapene a fair press conference. Paul Lubapene a fair press conference. Now then I want to say here. Me say NDC there. We know that we have to do the heavy lifting. We also appreciate the exigency of the day. There's enormous hardship. There's a deep crisis, a large gap in funding and opportunities for everybody. We are in all humility working very hard, which I say, to ensure that we leave no stone unturned. Which I say, me sure say biases, ni prejudices, systemic unity. We must win resoundingly. Which I say, they literally just give us a certain spring in the step. Which I say, but we are doing the heavy lift. Okay, say almost started. Say, but me I see more than two region strategy. Okay. I had that one, I had the fear. We are disgraceful contest. 60% kitty beer. I want me the poorest performance in the history of the New Patriotic Party for any flag bearer for that matter. Then so could die. That kakra no one anti-kakra, that kakra no anti-kakra. Who say Ashanti region here no started campaign bill. Now after that, what happened again? No mobile one policy agenda because he can say they are saying economy they want to make one bill because he has no gravitas. Oh, David. He has, we see, the weak fundamentals, the even weaker fundamentals have disgraced him. The reputation is in tatters. And into his presidency, he will give his liver in return to win the election. Without that, what does he have? He can't speak to the economy. He can't speak to financial issues. He can't speak to protecting the public purse. He can't speak to any exchange.
So the digital,
Ghana,
so that corruption to be tracked.
Ghana, wouldn't say nomenclature there. Every few years, terminology there. There's always different types of nomenclature. Until I hear word of the day, me idea me paper because I love puzzles. Until we share nomenclature now. E-governance project na no. Fibrotic cables over 1,000 that was laid under Mills Mahama. What was it supposed to do? It was to build infrastructure with a view to making Ghana an almost cashless environment. Automation. Nisa, add data center in your name, see, and I'm ready. Add e-process start ejuma. Na Bamian himself or Baby ejuma or Bank of Ghana. Or Jack or NTC building hall. That I'm a young lawyer, I was building Bill Asylum down. And yet, Ghana digital issues there and starting me say Ghana country be one disika. It was software technological advancements where the Ghana Dienka, I was say, may he so rest in peace, Henman. I was say, I want to be 10. In Elon Musk, I was so fear.
Okay, Yanko, the happenings at Parliament. I'm NDC, my leadership said, Mamu MPs and call Parliament, BMU. Tamon soon Sebetwaba, hardware, government businesses. Near the Adamon Pesa Becoso, until I must monk Parliament BMU.
Share, they say, we have overly pampered the New Patriotic Party. So they don't believe in negotiations. The raison d'etre for which we have a democratic multi-party system, they say, we should join.
Let's see, dear home come on.
It was a boo each other. It was a my each other respect.
Are they?
Ukai presidential executive secretary let be Otrokoma Parliament some time ago. I created some huge furor. President Akufo-Addo Kura said he was withdrawing it. Okay. Sending some instruction to Parliament. Let me see. And now I tell you, Ghana foreign direct investment. It is almost on its knees. Oil and gas companies are under Mills. Any Mahama, Omobaha with such huge promise. ENI in particular. Near Omoye our Parliament when the Prime Minister for Italy Ebaha about ENI. And ne ye bon komo. Sending United was about Georgia.
Yeah.
To force the hand of the leader. And there was Akufo-Addo doing. He feels very big. The dear Baya Shenesa or Paya Chow, Esreye, Eshe Kambu, and Nam Ghana in a pacho, and to top form platforms crasso just to become president. As soon as he got the position, what did he do? He turned around to disrespect us. Parliament, Hono. I think the Parliament wields enormous power. For a president to be successful, you must have a good working relationship with Parliament. But like I said, even in terms of executive separation of powers, we overly pandered to Akufo-Addo. So he doesn't see why he should make any amends. Unless, why should we have this conversation? When you are there, he should call the speaker. Almost 2020, something very, very historic happened. The National Democratic Congress, as the first in the history of this country, to lose by such a large number of votes. And by the 4th year, we were at par with them in Parliament. Me say, a majority no. Me when him say brofo me ti brofo pa.
Yeah, say lawyer.
Because language is baby and yeah. I'm not very conversant with. Majority, it doesn't have one or two. When someone tells you we are in the majority, there's a certain large number that is noticeably majority. Okay. Inti Ghana hayeti ene, you need majority, you need minority.
Oh, Parliament.
Debi, inti Usha, the speaker tried to please them by pampering them and saying that, oh, yemfa caucus in Yejuma. What's the caucus in Parliament? Whether you are majority or minority, you always have a caucus. And that is where we are. The Supreme Court ruling in your manner, I say, Constitution, no, they are there, we must respect it. But mostly we are able to criticize rulings of the Supreme Court. They have done their part. Nia Canoni say, it was say, or Mampenyi who say, it is his responsibility to maintain the peace until he hands over. But you see, me who say on one and funny who be. I'm saying, oh, I'm funny who be.
Because
who can say you commission circle Dubai and okay. And no when you say you can you see light no na see hono. Am I ho abese Dubai okay. It was one of those ones on the lighter side. Yeah. They weaponized that phrase. And no when who saw sa e will fly over so. By the time we woke up, not there no come on no fly over ni overpass in your mind. You see, when you failed, you major or minus.
Okay. Yanko is in some kakra. Mo flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama said, can I say is no bias towards the NDC. I'm saying come by a dintinama flag bearer, a casansem.
Bra, easy once and the woman said there's a very long history. And yeah, dear, starting in it. So even though there will always be a certain modicum of suspicion, what the EC does usually is to rise above that suspicion. So at least they provide comfort that omo arbiters, omo mediators, omo phobia. And we should say too, Charlotte will say free Jumala. It was always bound to create enormous, even more suspicion. Which I say, on botched charges of procurement lapses. Which I say, I can't even to go and get an individual to petition for her removal. And no more design your mama jina so a ye ni fie juma. Na mo ko fa Madam Jean Mensa by. But say Madam Jean Mensa de, yen nyina ni say no I she was almost very partisan. That's a fact. Enya de enyampa. Bossman Asari, he's partisan. Dr. Bunubio, he's partisan. Dr. PJ, he's partisan. The other lady they went there and replaced, she's partisan. Hey. For the first time, at least most of our commissioners are partisans. Known. Party will be any. Known. Dr. Pia Hini, no ye communicator, ever born half origin. Biso Obia.
Edema party being.
Edema MPP. Obianim.
Hey.
Oh yes, Obianim, sir. That's fact. Dr. Bossman Asare Kache say NDC was a threat to our democracy. We credit NDC with the framing of the 1992 Constitution. That bound even the New Patriotic Party at the time. A party that had never won any election. They even boycotted, if you remember. So that particular election, they didn't participate and they never entered parliament. And so when the Constitution we has served a very useful purpose. So how then is it that we will not know when an EC is being partisan? Now they say your first time you were EC.
Oh yes, this is your first time.
Which I say we've had about 2 commissioners on Mokoye, answer and man also by Nyoma. Until you are in na Ghana ha ina ebubon komo me say we share the level of reactionary measures from the ECA. It tells that they are also guilty. And yes, sir, if you believe in what you are doing and you are being transparent, you are being accountable, what problem is there? Me see 2020 Ukai. They announced and amended results 3 times. Me see when
2020.
Oh yes. Yes, sir, Ghana nkom be without very good leadership. Senka kroma ankebesho. Na me see yen danya me ase John Mahama no oyobia na koma edafie. You know Mr. Mahama is a very patriotic citizen. So only papa no yankroma commissioner. Nti omu yetiti omu in with respect for democracy. And then I think maybe sometimes because of your own extraction too, you are also a very modest or humble person. Until we share John Mahama, even though he served in Parliament, Mr. Akufo-Addo told the Biabaji Savior, Akufo-Addo ye bibia beyond him. But they served in various cabinet capacities.
Okay.
At the same time, what you say? Until easy there may say, if they stop the biases, if they stop pandering to the whims and caprices of the New Patriotic Party, if they assume the role of real arbiters. Now me, as a professional, I have a solution. That when this particular cycle ends, a new administration must revisit the subject of the composition of the Electoral Commission.
Okay. All right. You see, I just say, Omar recall ballot papers are called voter
for wrong serialization.
Yes.
Now, rigging efforts.
Saying
rigging efforts.
We are.
Me see, and Brad, there was the software. Me the 2 tables to me computer used to see. Na many we be county Ghana fie ni mu nyina sesi with all the coordinates. So they have no excuse. Enye sika kitwa na ko issue. Ko bisa parliament say isi sika dodo ben from taxpayers na ko to augment their work. and Negana, then I wish I miss me, mamma say, we are only reinventing the wheel. Nti easy and now, baby, now I wouldn't have no catch us almost the then cry no more calculate, you almost there. South of the Biom Cob, young crying, and your name was and you. Okay, say, and no more you see. What to be done? That is a challenge. You know, there's a lot of incompetence being displayed by the EC. They should set up.
Minim what here? Abamu Panophobi say they will not hand over power to the NDC, including the Greek minister, Dr. Brian Champo. What to be? Na sanse muso say.
Oh, some me catch you say Nana Akufo-Addo, he doesn't believe in democracy. And no, it is very evident in his actions, in his omissions, even in his pronouncements by far and so far. Secondly, the manner in which he brought Bawumia into the NPP gives him the right or the impression that he can do that even to foist him on the good people of Ghana, so as to get a third term, to avoid accountability, to avoid transparency, above all, to avoid the opprobrium that he knows his exit will definitely bring. Now, say corruption in, I can't go unchecked. He can't go uninvestigated.
Oh, he must not come do.
Oh, yes.
Say, two about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, a third term of Akufo-Addo.
Definitely.
I didn't.
Oh, I didn't.
Nasa soon Bawumia and soon Akufo-Addo.
Oh, me say, Bawumia better now as vice president, basically. And then why ya on year to the satisfaction of Akufo-Addo. Cheme be back. Just mention one thing. But what are the reasons why we know Bawumia? Yes, your economic risk. Nigeria ne kai. Nani Irinam Ghana or Fred or Mahama incompetent no. How many of you called her out? Oba onye jumada. Ghana ha until Samira Bawumia. What to say? Leader be we did another candidate attempt directly da. Yeah, mama loved that baby or will be a name chiam. Look at her stoicism. Look at her graciousness. In fact, I know them remember yeah, mama Rebecca cry, except for some one or two foibles. She minds her business. But we allowed it, we tolerated it. That was the lowest point for our democracy. Such disrespect. And now, I couldn't feel it. I was good in my potono on Namon platforms. Me say they are liars. They are acting. They've disgraced themselves. They've embarrassed themselves. They are an utter disgrace to whatever they claim that they are. That is fact. Me say them that now will still show you na me did you on time useless, incompetent. Ube peneso. That. But we sat here in Ghana and allowed her. When I see John Mahama, I see incompetence. For such a husband, and look at his performance. He shouldn't even be out there talking. And she dare not even be out there campaigning. Campaigning for what? For a man whose output is a lot worse than the man she was calling names. Me say, John Mahama, they're a very decent set of people. If you want respect, credibility, trustworthiness. Look, there's no perfect human being. We don't elect our leaders because we are looking for perfection. But we want a leader who is compassionate. A leader who will eat and say that my son, you to eat small. Or my daughter, you to eat small. Or, did you see Mr. Mahama on any occasion taking every development was available to his home state? Even so at a point to his own detriment. You heard about the road network today on the Kumasi side leading to the eastern region. But leave there and go towards where Brian Champo has his hotels. And yet we tried even to what? Literally hand over for free, for cheap, government shares in our only flagship hotels to this individual who also doubles as our Greek minister. That is why they want to stay in office. I mean, this whole desperation, where is it coming from? This was in 2016. We wanted a second term, but Jay knew that, look, realistically, if the Ghanaians decide that they're electing a new person, what will you do? You will have to hand over. Did you ever hear Mr. Mahama talk about not wanting to hand over? Never. But look at them. I mean, today I heard Nana B huffing and puffing all over. A few days ago, Nana B. If not for political aggrandizement.
All right. Abaima, you better say, you better copa.
Na ne mechanic say, Danyamia say, what share or coin soon na beduha. Na kaka crape, e bedu December 07. Na made a mini fearful. You say, beto abano ama John Mahama. Eni na jino pokwajima. Nti mesigana fo nyina. Se mo pe obi a obepa be somo man. Obi ye juma mamu. Obi a onfa propaganda enye juma. Obi a osori a obi a akogina ewiam me see Akufo-Addo catch say we regional one vote money peace and no ankasa unya development bia. John Mahama will believe in fairness and equity. He will respect the tenets of the constitution. He will respect parliament. He will respect various institutions of governance.
Right.
Elect an NDC-PC, vote for John Mahama, and see the future that all of us will be proud of.
All right. Aima, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
For Ahani Edin Komono, AC Mamena, Obaima Joyce Bawa Muktari, the campaign spokesperson and special aide to the NDC presidential candidate, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Yedin Komono Bebre, Mahimana, Wabempa. Ahani Edin Komono AC, na UTV, Yenye Muntinu, Yami Aduma Chenanso, Yabako NPP, so Asweye. Dennis Miracles Abuajen so beba na yeneno edi MPP so ho enkomo. Oyima Edas. Thank you so much. Ayoko anu achia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama amaye. Okay, abuso ya na yedi nkomo ni nyina esi mamena production team no ase omo abodwuma papa kase hyase enso no menimnwa ba abena baye nya no na ehyase na wo ahwe wo am send messages ewo social media platforms nyina so yere mo ase na mo nhira mo nyina mo nkoso ahwe UTV sanse ha na ne pere nyina wo ma kanse china ye ni MPP fo nso ebedi enkobo midin de David ofori safo bongo divara nyame adme bresem besan mo de hia ya ka mo nyina